Sharp French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put it in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time, I confirmed it. A whole society determined
What if you were made fun of your whole life because you were undersized, 5'7" as a senior, 150 pounds, but wanted to be a Major League Baseball player? How would you feel every single day knowing that that was going to be your reality, but everybody else thought you were full of it and did not think you could do it? Well, I want to take you on a journey of a Major League Baseball player who, in fact, did make it. His name is Chris Mazza. You're going to really enjoy this story of a young man hitting a growth spurt, becoming an amazing shortstop, only to be found on a pitcher's mound in the major leagues. Come on.
This one luck, I let the pain inspire me.
Chris, what's up, man? Hey, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in, buddy. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Hey, man, like we're here, you know, we're in sunny Florida and getting to have this amazing conversation, and I cannot wait to share your story, who you are with the audience, and I know they're going to get a whole lot out of it. So without further ado, man, talk to us a little bit for those that are watching that don't know exactly who you are and what your journey was. Clue them in, man. Who are you?
Yeah, so like you said, my name's Chris Mazza. I'm originally from Clayton, California. I play professional baseball, and my journey's been kind of crazy. You know, it's one of those things when I was a kid, it's something always drew me to baseball. Like, it's been my first love ever since I picked up baseball. And my dream was literally to do exactly what I'm doing. So that's kind of cool, kind of being able to live out your dream where, you know, not most people aren't fortunate enough to get to do, but I get to do it every day. Now it's kind of just a grind, getting back with it, like we've talked about with surgery and stuff. But I think like the biggest thing out of it is just like still having a love for the game and all that.
Yeah. I want, guys, he did mention Clayton Valley, Clayton, California. I also grew up in Clayton, California. And so I know exactly where this guy comes from. And you're right, man, not a lot of people get to do what you have done in your career. You know, you played with many major league organizations, and now you're going through, you had 4 surgeries in one pretty much. Why don't you clue the audience in on the type of surgery you had on your elbow?
All right, so basically I had a complete reconstruction of my elbow. So we had to do a complete reconstruction of the UCL. They ended up having to take a tendon from my hamstring. They had to graft it. Now that is folded up and nicely
It's looking
put
fresh.
in there. Yeah,
it's
it looks
looking
fresh. Then I also tore my flexor tendon,
Okay.
which both those surgeries separately are 10 to 18 month recovery. Now I got both, and
Yeah.
then they had to move my ulnar nerve for the second time, and then they also had to take 2 bone chips out.
Yeah.
A lot of these surgeries are all done separately, but when it's all in the same place, you might as well get it all done at once. So,
Dude, it's funny because I had the same, not the same, right? When I was at LSU playing, I had a pretty bad injury too. My shoulder was completely blown apart. So I had to do one of those things called a capsular shrinkage, labrum tear, a chromium decompression. And you know, you look at a piece of bacon, right? The moment you throw it on that pan, what happens? It shrinks. So it's exactly what they did to my shoulder. And so they tell me when I wake up, hey, just so you know, there's like a 70% chance you won't come back from this. I'm like, oh, cool. Hey, thanks for telling me that up front, man. Like, my career's over. Cool, thanks, brother. So that was so hard to come back from, you know, so I can only imagine where you're at because I was at the Division I level. I mean, what I had in front of me was the rest of my career, you know, College World Series, looking to be one of those legends at LSU because as you know, as a baseball guy, if you perform at LSU, it's pretty much a clean-cut path to the major leagues in legendary status, right?
LSU, right?
Yeah, dude, something like, okay, this is great, so that's done. But for you, man, you made it. You've pitched in a major league stadium.
Yeah.
You've pitched in multiple major league stadiums. What was that experience like? Because as you said, growing up as a child, only wanting to play Major League Baseball, and then you got to freaking do it.
Yeah.
And dude, you're a badass. You're determined. You're going to come back, and you're going to have another shot. I'm not worried about that. But walk the audience through that journey, man. Like, that's a feel-good journey.
Man, it really is, because like a lot of times throughout that journey, you're always told like you're too small, like you're never gonna make it. Like, why are you even wasting your time? Like I told you earlier, like my freshman year of high school, I was 5'1", 92 pounds. Like my senior year, I was 5'7", and then I ended my senior year at 5'11", 6 foot, and that all happened during baseball season.
That's nuts.
So
Were
I
you
was
like tripping over your own feet?
Oh, dude, I was like a baby giraffe. Like I had no idea what I was doing.
Was that your nickname, Baby Giraffe?
No.
Okay,
my
that's
dad
good then.
called me Pinhead since I was a
Pinhead?
kid. Yeah.
Good old Bob.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, so it was like one of those things. Like, I was really good at baseball, and then I got really bad at baseball because I didn't know my body.
Yeah.
So I ended up wanting to just play baseball for 4 more years. Walked on to Menlo College, which is a Division III school.
Yep.
And somehow I walked on the field the first day, and it's like everything clicked again.
It's
I like
insane.
grew into my body. I like started at shortstop as a freshman, and I never didn't play a game at short with Menlo in my whole entire career, and then ended up getting drafted as a pitcher.
So did you pitch a lot at Menlo, or what was that like?
So I pitched 15 innings my junior year as a closer.
What about those 15 innings? What about those 15 dang innings, right? That says for a Major League Baseball organization, go, he's a shortstop, he's throwing 15 innings. Now I want to draft him as a pitcher.
So funny, like how you talk about, like, you know, there's guys that have played a position their entire life, ended up getting drafted as a pitcher. People wonder how the heck that happens. Well, it happens because you just flash a good arm, right?
Okay.
Because when I first started getting looked at, it was not to pitch, it was to actually play shortstop. And the only reason I got looked at is because there was a scout at our game to see somebody else.
That's the way it always
Right?
is, man.
And it was to see one of their pitchers. And my first 2 at-bats off, this guy hit 2 doubles off the wall.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get that first questionnaire letter.
Who is this guy?
Yeah, it's like,
Who's this Chris
can you
Mazza guy?
Can you fill this out, right?
Yeah.
And like at that point, I got that first letter. I'm like, let's go. Wow. This is all in. This is what I'm going to do now. Because at first it was like, I'm just going to go play baseball for 4 more years, get a degree, and then I want to go into firefighting.
Oh, really?
That's what I wanted to do.
Okay.
All right. It was either that or I'm picking up the tools with my dad doing masonry, and you know.
Well, you're doing that now because you're building an outdoor kitchen.
Yeah. Well, we got that done. So
that's good.
Flashbacks of, I'm glad I didn't have to do that.
Flashbacks of childhood summer, right? Going to work with dad.
That was my off-season. Yeah. That was literally my off-season training.
Yeah.
Like literally picking up 80-pound bags of mortar and doing, being a hog carrier for my dad in the off-season until I made it in the big leagues. And then I was like, I'm not doing
that
no
anymore.
More.
Not doing it anymore. So describe to the audience the big league experience, right? The call. What was that moment like when you got that call and you got to share that with your dad?
So, well, unfortunately, my call was not like most other people's call where it's like, oh, first time, hey, come into the office. You know, they're messing around, like, gonna mess with you. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, yeah, your next game's gonna be in New York, right, against the Yankees. Like, no, that didn't happen. I'm in Syracuse, and I'm watching the Mets game. I don't know who they're playing, but all of a sudden, like, they're getting blown out, and they're running through pitchers and pitchers and pitchers. And I got 2 of my roommates in there, and I'm like, watch, I bet somebody's going to get called up today. Like, we are all talking about it. It's one of those things, you just know how things go. And all of a sudden, like 10 minutes later, my phone rings, and it's my manager, and he's like, hey, so you started out in AA this year, right? I was like, yeah. And then you came up AAA. I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, now you're gonna get on a plane and you're going to Philly.
Unbelievable, man.
And I'm like, okay, we're watching this game, and but then he goes, well, they're not sure if you're gonna call you, if like they're gonna activate you or not. It's kind of like this taxi squad. You go up there, and if they're gonna activate you, you'll get activated. If not, you just get back on the plane and just come back down to Syracuse. like, oh, that's really cool. You know,
That's
I'm 29
cool.
years old,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
this is my first taste of possibly the big
Yeah.
leagues, and it's like, well, am I going?
Am I going or not?
Am I not?
Is there a
Because,
chance?
dude,
Like,
I know way too many people have had that phone
Yeah,
call, and they
yeah.
get there, and then it's like, oh, plane back.
But that's an amazing, and it just goes to show, and we're going to go to a quick commercial, but before we go, I just want the audience to understand something. The most unassuming moments in your life can turn into something very special, and that's what you just heard from Chris Mazza right there, getting called up to the big leagues.
Sharp French, what up?
And we're back with Chris Mazza, Major League Baseball free agent, where he's discussed his journey into the big leagues. Dude, I'm gonna tell you what, it's been an inspiring story so far. Not a lot of people get to live that story. No. So whatever your call-up story was, you still had a call-up story. I never had one, right? So it's still a really cool story. But what I want to talk to you now is, you know, that whole journey, right? You know, playing Little League, playing high school, and then into Menlo College. You know, like, there takes a lot of determination. Like, as you said, you weren't the tallest of the bunch.
No.
You grew later, didn't understand, know your body, and then one day, the first practice at Menlo College, it clicked. There's a finite level of determination that kicks in when you have to deal with all the adversity. So walk me through, what does determination mean to you, and how's it played a role in your development?
I mean, it's like one of those things, like, you get told, somebody tell you can't do something, like, you either got two types of people. Type person that's gonna be like, oh yeah, okay, like, yeah, you can't do that, and you're right, I can't. Or you're just, it's, you know, it's the F you mentality.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do it, and I'm gonna prove you wrong. And that's kind of like how I've had to do things, like when I was younger. So it's kind of like you always have that chip on your shoulder, and you just want to prove to people that, yeah,
I feel that, dude.
I'm better.
Yes,
like,
yes.
just because I'm smaller than you doesn't mean that I can't figure this out. And then all of a sudden, I got somebody came down and touched me, and you know,
like,
everything started.
You
to
can
click.
now play. Yeah.
It's like, here you go. Like,
exactly.
you've got that grind that you've had to develop as a kid, to now you actually have the body to do it. And now this is the easy stuff.
Dude, when did the chip develop? Because for me, it happened fucking early, dude. Like, I thrive on this crater-sized chip on my shoulder, and sometimes it's a good thing, right? Sometimes it does feed into that determination, that discipline, that fire.
Yeah.
But a lot of times it could be the root of my demise.
Well, I mean, that kind of starts with, I got two brothers. I got an older brother that's 6 years older than me. I got a younger brother that's 3 years older than me.
Yep, there it is.
Younger brother was always as big as I was.
Okay.
So it's like, man, and I always wanted to be like my older brother, playing baseball and stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like, okay, I want to prove that I can play with the older kids, because that's how I got better. I always played up. I never really played with kids my own age, but when I did, I usually stood out. But like, I felt like it was a better learning experience for me to kind of go get my butt kicked a little bit to keep you down to earth.
Dude, it's a great point.
Because you get too big sometimes. You're like, oh yeah, I got this easy, but that's not the case.
Right.
Especially when, like, I try to get my kids in high school at Bonita. Like, you guys don't realize how hard it is to get where I got.
Yeah. Like, dude,
it's not just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna roll out of bed and get to the big leagues. No,
it's everything.
It's 365. I mean, 24/7, 365. Like, this is what you got to do, because there's always somebody behind you that's ready to take your job at any point. Trust me, I was that guy. I wanted.
Yes.
I didn't
like,
care
I'm
if it was
taking that dude's
DeGrom
position.
or like any of those
Here's
guys.
the other thing: the coaches are looking too.
Exactly.
The GM's looking. Like, they are always looking to make another choice that's going to bring them to a championship, right?
Yeah.
And that's just the way the world works.
And that was one of the things that one of my coaches, Storm Davis in AA, when I was with Jacksonville in Miami's organization. My first year as a starter in 2017 is my first year ever starting. I've always been out of the bullpen. I had a 301 that whole entire season. I didn't get moved up at all.
Wow.
So it makes him frustrated. He's like, dude, you're going to pitch in the big leagues. It might not be for us.
Yeah. But one day you're going
pitch.
to.
So that was like the one, like, reassurance that I had in my head, like if there were a chance, because I had already been released at this point once by the Twins, and then went to Miami, and I was with them for 3 years, and the next year I go to AAA, send me back down to AA, and then I get released. And I still had that in the back of my head. That Storm told me, he's like, you're going to pitch in the big leagues. So it was like one of those things, like, you're right. I mean, I understand the situation that came in. Jeter came in, recycle, right?
Yeah.
In standard Miami
Of course. Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was one of those things like, I'm going to prove them. They made a mistake, right?
You know, and I think that's a good point because there's always that one person that believes, not just believes in you, but they're just because a belief is something that you just cannot see. But they're actually he knew you were going to pitch in the major leagues. And it's important for individuals like you and myself that carry that big chip on our shoulder to have that one person that we know, love, and trust that has that quality of integrity and has been there, right? It has been there to say that, no, you're it, dude. You're it. How important was that to you? And just staying in your own mind and just kind of staying even keel, because that it can get kind of hectic.
It's one of those things where you know you're on a scale, right?
Yeah.
One thing that somebody says could tip that scale, right?
Yeah.
So it was one of those things that was just an extra motivation. That was like an extra reinsurance. Okay, like you start. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's dark days. There's dark days, a lot of them. But it's things like that. If you can keep that in your memory bank, like that helps you get to that next spot, and really elevates you to a new place to pursue, or even like make your dreams a reality.
So many people give up, and that's the thing. That's why
it's
I love,
easy because it's easy to give up.
It's easy to give up. Everybody's doing it. Everybody's giving up. Screw it. Like if it's not going my way, I can just throw up my hands. I wasn't supposed to be here anyway, right?
Right.
But the thing that I love about the word determination, and that's why the whole, hence the show, The Determined Society, is there's always those moments. See, in your career, there's probably 1,000 moments where you could have been like, you know what, this isn't for me. One most recently being the surgery. 4 surgeries in one, you're a year out, man. And as you mentioned, one day you feel great, and the next day you don't feel great. But that's determination to keep going.
Man, this has been the most frustrating, complicated thing that I've ever gone through. This is worse than the grind just to get to the big leagues.
Yeah. Oh, talk about that.
So yeah, like I thought that was like mentally like tough. I can't control anything that's going on here. Like I could control my work ethic. I can control other things to put me in the right spot to do well or to have success. With this, I'm just at the mercy of
the passenger,
when
man.
it wants to heal, and it's just like, it's literally like waking up, and it's let's flip a coin and see if it's gonna feel good today or if it's not.
It's amazing,
and it's
dude.
one of those things like, you know, Dr. Andrews did my surgery up in.
Jim's great, dude.
Yeah,
it's great.
And I mean, 80 years old, still doing it, and there's a reason why people go to him. It gives them another chance, and this was literally, he told me, he goes, if you have another chance to play again, like this, you have it now.
This is it.
Because we were 30 minutes from not being able to do the surgery because he couldn't find my nerve.
That's insane.
Couldn't find my nerve.
Couldn't find it.
Yep. Called the doctors in Minnesota. Of course, the doctor who did my ulnar nerve surgery in 2013 retired.
Yeah.
But grace to God, the hospital had the record still. And he goes,
amazing.
that's insane that they held on to him for 10 years.
You're lucky because he can purge him after a certain time.
Oh, yeah, I know. And that's what they talked about, because he's literally like, oh, we might have to try a PRP shot. I'm like, that's PRP, cool. You literally just told me that at my age and my surgery, like PRP is probably not going to help. So now you're telling me that's my option?
It's not going to help. Not with that injury.
What are we doing?
Not with that injury. But, well, look, guys, we're going to come back. We're going to take a little bit of a moment for another commercial break. You've heard all the stories of determination in his career and his injury. So, Chris, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back, buddy.
All right.
This one luck, I let the pain inspire me.
We are back with my boy Chris Mazza. Dude, this has been amazing. The audience has learned so much about your journey to the big leagues, the things that make you tick, what you think determination is. Now, this is the fun part. This is the fun part where you get to tell the audience what makes you the special individual that you are? What makes you tick? What's your secret sauce?
So I guess like, I don't know, it's like how we kind of talked about determination, like the way that I got to where I got is because it's like one of those things, like you never quit.
What did it get you?
It got me to the big leagues.
Talk about what does it mean not to quit to you? Because some people think they've got to go 1,000% every single day. But for me, my definition is I just don't stop moving forward. And some of the steps may be small day to day, but at the end of it, I'm just not going to stop. I'm going to keep coming. I'm going to keep coming until we get to a point where it can't be denied. So walk me through that for you.
If you have a goal and you want to achieve it, obviously you can't give up. Like we were talking about, it's so easy to give up. Like nobody wants to try.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether that's trying to make it to the big leagues, whether it's a marriage.
Mm-hmm. That's a big one.
Well, it is a big one, right?
Right.
We talk about marriage, and you look at the United States, is what? It's almost 50% divorce
I think
rate.
it's higher now. I think back in the day,
Which is insane.
I don't know the percentage now.
My parents have been together since they were 18.
That poor woman, man.
Yeah. You don't think they didn't fight? You don't
Yeah.
think they didn't have these things? But
No,
they didn't quit.
you didn't quit. Yeah.
You can't just quit on something.
You know, it's funny because there's so many amazing things that have been accomplished in this world. How much would have been taken from not just the United States, but from the world as a whole?
Oh.
If let's say Steve Jobs quit,
Yeah.
Bill Gates quit,
Oh,
Eric
it got too
Thomas
hard.
quit, Barry Bonds quit.
If it got too hard, we'd have nobody that does anything great.
Why do you think people quit when it gets too hard, though? Do you think it's just the easy way out, or do they really feel like this isn't for me, or is it a scapegoat?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think I think you get afraid of the moment more than you actually like don't think you can get there. I think it's one of those things like, oh, I'm so close, I'm so close, I'm so close, and then it's nope, I don't think I can handle that.
Those moments are hard because there's so many times in life where we're going through something, like you said, whether it's a career, a marriage, or just even graduating college. There's moments where you feel like you're in a pressure cooker. And those are the moments, that's the moment of growth, right? So you have an opportunity to approach that line and blow past it and grow, or get to that line and back up and say, yo, not for me. And if more people push through it, there'd be so more amazing. This society would be so much greater than it is right now.
And like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely like, you get that reality check, like just saying like, oh, I'm gonna keep going until like I make it. Like obviously, like that's not gonna happen to everybody, right?
There's a cutoff, right?
There's definitely a cutoff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I could be still 34 years old that I am now, and like I say I haven't made it, like, oh, I'm still gonna push, still gonna push. There's still a day, like you got other responsibilities, you got other things that, okay, I didn't make it, but I did everything in my power to make it. I just, okay, now I have a conversation with yourself and like, all right, I'm just not there. I wasn't there.
You know what struck me when we were talking is your wife, Callie.
Yeah.
Our wives are so instrumental in our growth as professionals, and I want to talk about her a little bit because she flat out said he does not quit anything. Like, but dude, for your wife to say that, like, do you realize how impactful that is?
Yeah.
For your wife to think that about you? I mean, I see you get emotional. I'm getting emotional because the only thing I ever want to do is make my wife proud and make my kids proud. So, brother, the fact that your wife is sitting there going through all this with you and 2 young kids, she could be feeling a lot of emotions. But her response was, he doesn't quit. How does that make you feel?
No, it's great because it's the only way I can actually do this right now is because of her. Like, I'm not making no money right now. I was playing in Mexico. Like, I had to ask for my release to come do surgery.
Unbelievable.
I haven't collected a paycheck in over a year. Like, she's keeping us going right now.
Dude, and I think that is one of those things that I love because a marriage is give and take.
Give and take, right?
Right. It's like
If,
there's moments
like,
where you're
in
hey,
the lead. Now,
yeah.
now I'm down here. She's picking up the slack, right?
But that's life, right?
Yeah.
And there's no shame in that. That is a real strong couple. I love to hear that, man. So I just wanted to ask you. Like,
Halftime, she asked me how I did when I get back from PT, and she looks at my face and then maybe doesn't even ask anymore because she knows it.
Just leave him alone
How'd it
right
feel
now.
today,
He's
honey?
in his feelings.
Oh, it was all right.
Yeah.
What do you mean it was all right? It was all right.
It was
okay.
all right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Let's
we'll
not
end
talk
up that.
about it.
We'll end up that.
Let's not talk about it. We'll end on that one. But no, dude, it's important because that's why I wanted to bring that up, man. It's just so important, you know, the shadow that we cast to the public, 100%. But the most important shadow that we cast, and I want everybody to understand this, is a shadow at home.
Yeah.
What are the walls saying about you? What are the kids saying about you? What is your spouse saying about you? Because that's what makes you an individual. That's what makes you a man.
And those are the only things that really matter.
That's it.
At the end of the day, it's the only thing that matters.
Because if the whole career ended today, you would still have that beautiful wife and those beautiful children. And that is what matters, dude. It's so cool, man. Like, that's got to give you that added motivation, that added determination to push through these moments because you know she's holding you down right now. She's got you.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing, man. Does that take a little pressure off a little bit?
A little bit. Like, it's one of those things. It's like, oh, yeah, it takes a little bit of pressure, but then it also, like, okay, like, come on, we got to get going.
We got to get going because it's my turn again, right?
Well, and it's one of those things, like, for people at home to understand, like, it's not like I am with a team right now. Like, I am not getting paid during this rehab process. So, like, you know, when you're with a team and going through all this, it's way more less stressful. At least I think. Like, I've only had other surgeries that weren't a year-long recovery. Like, my surgery when I was with the team was 3 months.
Yeah.
Totally relaxed, own pace. You know, like having Tommy John surgery, okay, now you got a year to a year and a half with a team. It's nice, like, you know, like, all right, you can take your time. I got all the treatment that I can get, and I'm still getting a paycheck. I got nothing.
You got nothing,
man.
Got nothing
so
right now.
It's like, man, I'm trying to rush. Like, I'm 34. Like, it's one of those things. Like, dude, you don't got a lot of years left.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 34 and I'm already old for this age of
It's
baseball.
true.
Now.
Yeah, I hear that. You may not have a lot of time left in your opinion or in Major League Baseball's opinion of your career.
Yeah.
But you have your whole life ahead of you, and you're going to be successful at whatever the hell you do because you don't quit. You know, so I just want to thank you for coming on the show today.
I appreciate you having me.
The audience, I know you guys got a lot out of this man here. We learned a ton about you and your journey, and man, we were friends before. I was a fan before, but now I'm an even bigger fan. So thank you, bro. Appreciate you, dog.
Thank you.
Sharp French, what up? This one luck, I let the pain inspire me. I put my all in everything I'm doing. Up until it's done, I'm me for the entirety. I put in overtime, I be working. Just know I'ma go for mine, cause I earned it. They watching, I know it's time, I confirmed it. A whole society determined to show.